good morning, everybody. Caroline, just can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm Michelle de Toy, and I have been in the business of real estate from about 2017. I was an agent. I've started my own business, and now I am currently the head of programs for PropAcademy. And that is short and sweet from my side.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's get right into it. So today's topic is about the PPRA Education Compliance. We will be hosting several of these sessions going forward. However, this is the first one in quite a while, especially since the changes that have occurred. So just to start off with, the PPRA in South Africa brings notable changes to the real estate sector, focusing on improving professionalism and consumer protection. So while these changes present both opportunities and challenges, it's important for practitioners like yourselves to adapt in order to effectively navigate the new regulatory environment. So that's the gist of what we will be discussing today. So I think let's get started. First question, which we can discuss, and this will be more aimed to you, Courtney. We've seen that the industry is confused about what to do next. Is there a simple way to put this?
Okay, so yes, there is a simple way. Obviously, doing what we do, we had to come up with the easiest way to explain it. And so what we've done in our heads is we've created two groups. In your first group, you've got FFCs that were issued on or before the 30th of June 2024. Okay, and then your second group, you've got FFCs that were issued from 1st of July 2024 onwards. And it's very important for me to explain to you that these are your two groups. We're going to refer to these two groups throughout the session. But what's important is a lot of you would have applied for an FFC. So it's not the application date that you're looking at. It's the date that your FFC was issued, which is on your FFC and your portal.
All right. If you have an FFC, how long do you now have to oh goodness, I'm so sorry. Let me just rephrase that. If you have an FFC, how long do you have? Oh, I'm not sure how this question is phrased, Courtney.
Okay, cool. So if you have an FFC,
how long do you now have to be compliant?
Yes, now have to be compliant. And the reason we want to bring this up is because if you have a look at the previous regulation, you remember that you had your 12 months for your internship where you did your logbook and your NQ4, and then you had a further 12 months to pass your PDE. So what we're talking about now in this comment is not about what you're completing, but how long do you have in order to become compliant. So if you've got your FFC and it's a 3-year FFC, you need to make sure that you are compliant before, not before the FFC expires, but you need to make sure that you need to become compliant in October, the year that it does expire. So let me explain that. If you look at your FFC right now, if you look at your FFC right now, you will see that it says at the top of your FFC when it will be expiring. So it will say, on mine, for example, December 2026. Okay, so you need to make sure then that you are compliant prior to October, because October is the last month in which you're going to be able to renew your FFC. And they won't renew it unless you are compliant with the regulations that we are going to discuss.
Right. I see a couple of people in the chat say our sound's not great. Can more people confirm? Are you also experiencing the challenges with the sound? So I think we can hear each other clearly and visually, but if we can just get some feedback from the rest of the attendees, if everyone's experiencing this. Okay. Okay, all right. So I think Audrey and Antoinette, it might just then be streaming internet lines on your side. If the majority is having good sound, then I think it might just be a streaming issue.
So then in that case, I can see a lot of people said the sound is fine, but for those where it was struggling, just very briefly on what I've just said, is if you have a look at your FFC on the top, it will say expires December, for example, in my case, the year is 2026. Okay, it's probably not. It's probably 2025. So you have a look at that. You don't think in your head, okay, that means I now need to be compliant by December. You need to be fully compliant before October so that you can actually apply for your next FFC, your next 3-year FFC, by October, the year that it is expiring. Okay.
Awesome. I think
All right.
everyone's gotten that. Okay, and then staying on the specific point, how do the two different groups comply, Group 1 and Group 2?
Yeah, sure. So remember, Group 1 is you having an FFC prior to the 1st of July 2024, and Group 2 is you having an FFC from the 1st of July 2024 onwards. Okay, so you've got your two groups. The first group complies according to the 2008 regulation, which means your logbook, your NQ4, and your PDE4. And then to look further on that same group, you would have to have your NQ5 if you want to become principal, and write your PDE5 once you were a registered principal. Okay. And then if we have a look at the second group, you've got that's in accordance with the PPRA 2019. Okay, so your first group, you're going to follow the normal regulations of 2008 regulation. And the second group, you're going to follow the PPA 2019, which means that you are going to do your NQ4 occupational certificate, your ISA, and your PDE4. So that is how you will look at it. Please separate it in your head. Okay.
If you want, we can even share the notes at some point, but I think, again, this is where consultation will also be valuable. If from the audience you are picking up something, if you would really like to discuss in depth, that's where you can start making bookings with Courtney directly. So just a heads up on that. So back to Group 1, if they didn't submit their logbook, how do they go about becoming competent in this?
Caroline, I will answer that one, if Courtney is happy with that. They can still complete their logbooks, keep the logbook at their agency's registered head office, and then complete an affidavit to submit to the PPRA. Now, the reason why the logbook has to stay in the head office is because the PPRA does do some audits sometimes on agencies, and that might start to be a point of the audits that they will check. So it's important to not just complete an affidavit and say, I've done my logbook. You actually do still need to complete that as you would have done, and that file needs to be kept in the head office of your agency. With that logbook, the affidavit must confirm that they have completed one of the following, and that will then be obviously the logbook. If you don't have to do the logbook for a reason, the compulsory practical training modules to state that you've done that, and then also the work experience modules of the new occupational certificate real estate agent, and that will then be the affidavits that need to be signed by your principal.
Thank you, Michelle. The next question that I want to, and this is still on you, Michelle, is what is the difference between the compulsory practical training modules and the work experience modules?
Okay, so there's lots of confusion about this in the industry at this stage. So just to make it simple for everyone to understand, the compulsory practical training modules are industry requirements set by the PPRA. These modules are designed to ensure that property practitioners have the necessary understanding and skills to perform their roles effectively. So to be an agent, there's certain things that they actually want you to know. The workplace experience modules are part of the third section of the new occupational certificate course for NQF4. The funny thing is, these topics are of both modules, the practical training and the workplace experience modules, they are exactly the same, Caroline. But this is actually a good thing in the industry. This alignment indicates that both the QCTO and the PPRA are establishing a specific standard for anyone pursuing a career in real estate. And this makes the standard of real estate agents or property practitioners just so much better. And for these that don't know what QCTO stands for, it's the Quality Council for Trade and Occupation. And that is the new body that is going to be over this course of the NQF4.
Thank you so much for that. So if you fall in group 1, but you didn't do your NQF4, especially the 59097, then can you do the new NQF4 OC 118714? So the old one versus the OC?
Yes, you definitely can, Carlene. The only thing that you need to be aware of is if you do fall in this group number 1, you are under the 2008 regulation, and you will still need to do your logbook if you have not done that. So yes, you can definitely do the new course, but you are going to have to complete your logbook if you do want to do that.
So what are the requirements, no matter which group, to register for the NQF4 OC?
Okay, so this has changed quite a bit. If there are guys on the call that have done the old NQF4, the legacy course, you would know that you needed a matric certificate. And at this stage, with a new occupational certificate, you actually only need a NQF3 certificate, which is equivalent to a grade 11. And then you also need a South African ID document or a passport, as easy as that.
Okay. All right. And if anyone here wants to start their NQF4 OC, do they have to wait for a registration date?
With PropAcademy, Carlene, no. We are an online platform, so you literally just register yourself, you make your payment, and you get started.
Okay, sounds quite simple. So to finalize your NQF4, the OC now, you need to write the ASA. I have 2 questions. What is an ASA or EISA? I know that most people pronounce it as ASA. And does this replace the PDE4?
Okay, so this is also a question that I think many have asked and want to ask. The ASA is a completely new idea for the industry. We haven't had this before in the industry, and the ASA is an external integrated summative assessment. So it is an exam. This exam has been set up or will be set up by the QCTO and CETA to assess learners' knowledge of the real estate environment. So it's going to obviously be a summary of that you have done in the course, in the new occupational certificate course. It will be written in a general assessment center. So this will not be online, unfortunately. So will it replace the PDE exams? Unfortunately, at this stage, no, guys. You will then have an ASA exam and the PDE exam. And the reason for this is the ASA exam is for the the qualification purpose of the course, and the PDE exam will still be seen as the industry compliance. So at this stage, you will still have to do both exams, unfortunately, guys.
And I like how you've explained it like that, relating one to the industry and one to the qualification. So I think if people understand it in that way, they will understand exactly why it still needs to be written, why both need to be written.
Definitely.
Yes.
And then the next statement or question can be directed at both of you. But I think, Michelle, this is probably where you come in as well, is one of the huge concerns is the jump in price from the old versus the new NQF4, the OC. Can you explain why this is?
Carlene, there's 3 reasons for this. Firstly, the course duration is now 10 months. Previously, the NQF4 course was only 6 months. So there is a big jump in the duration as well. The extended duration is due to the course being divided in 6 learning units and not only 3. So previously we only had 3 learning units, and now the occupational certificate has got 6 learning units. So when we think of that, this increase in the learning units requires more assessment, obviously. There's more assessors needed, there's more moderators needed, and obviously they need to be compensated. So that is the first reason. The second reason is there's no additional extras that you need to do to be compliant. So there's no extra logbook that you need to do or anything like that. And the practical, the workplace evidence and experience, this is all in one course now. So you don't need to go buy anything else. If you buy this course, it's got everything that it needs. And then thirdly, learners will be prepared to write the ACE exam. So there will be a module where we actually try and prepare these learners to be able to write that ACE exam. So that is also the extra when we look at the price of the course. Carlene?
That does make sense. Especially, I think, with regards to the preparation assistance. That makes a lot of sense to me. Again, if the audience has any questions on that, again, with regards to the pricing, we can just give you some info in the chat, or again, you can consult with Courtney directly per appointment. Courtney, the next question is for you. The last step for candidates will be the PDE4. How does this take place?
Okay, so it's been quite an exciting journey with the PDEs taking place over the past, or actually since COVID, it's been exciting. But they've got to the stage now at the PPRA where this PDE is finally settling. The way that they've executed it is great, and we're getting good results. So how it happens is you'll have 4 exams per year, and then you book the exam depending on if you're ready. So meaning, have you got the first 2 steps marked off? Do you qualify to book for the PDE? Okay, so it's an open book exam, which is quite nice because you can be at home, you can be on holiday, you can be anywhere in the country, and by 9 o'clock that morning you will receive an exam paper, which is sent to your email address, and it's also published on the PPRA's website just for that day. You'll download the Word document, you'll complete it, and then you'll submit it. Now, the rules change slightly with each exam, but the last exam was from about 9 o'clock to 2 p.m. You have to make sure you've sent it back to the email address in question by that time. Okay, so we've learned from all of these exams. We've had loads of feedback from learners, and we've adjusted everything accordingly to make sure that we offer you the prep course that is best suited for your needs. So it's constantly updated. Where it comes to the actual nitty-gritty of the rules, like I've explained the general procedure to you, the actual rules will be executed about 24 hours before your exam. And then you'll be able to see them on the PPRA's website. And if you are successfully registered for the exam, you'll also get an email from the PPRA. You must just check your junk folder as well. And then, so the reason that I'm very pro this exam being done from anywhere at any time is just so that it does reach all different demographic and environmental situations. You know, we don't all have to be in one place at one time, and it's been successful in my point.
Wonderful. So now the NQF5 is also becoming popular. We see a lot of practitioners taking this next step. Can you explain what the entry requirements are for this course?
Yes, the entry requirements are that you have your NQF level 4 in real estate and then your ID or passport. It is quite awesome that so many people are interested in the NQF5. And I also noticed it's a bit of a touchy one because principals don't really support their non-principals and property practitioners when they get the NQF5 because they feel threatened. And a lot of people hide it from their principals, but now I've started noticing that the principals have changed their attitude, and they're actually very grateful that in their company, their non-principals don't want to be a principal, but they want the next level up. Okay, so people like a higher status, they enjoy it. The more you learn about real estate, the better you'll be. So it shouldn't be something that holds you back from studying your NQF5.
And once you've completed all the steps that we've discussed today, can you write your PDE5?
Yes, so I know some of you will battle with this answer, but yes, you can. Okay, so how it used to be, Colleen, is that once you've registered as a principal, you had 2 years in which to write and pass the PDE5. But now, as of the 1st of July, they've said that any non-principal or property practitioner can, with their NQF5 in place, can write the PDE5 without being a principal. And that's the most important part of my answer. I understand that there's loads of people who are frustrated at the moment because they can't physically register for it because the PPRA's portal is not yet changed to allow them to do so. So I think those have to be manual registrations that are sent via email. I know this month's registration for the exam on the 15th of August has been very stressful for those who are registering, but it would be interesting to see if all of these issues have been resolved.
I think just maybe what we can also do, Courtney and Michelle, if you agree, perhaps just summarize everything that was discussed, because I know that some people came in halfway. I think a few people might have missed the start of our session as well. Is there any of the points in particular you'd like to revisit quick, just so we can address them? Alternatively, we can run through the questions in the line there.
Yeah, sure.
Totally.
So I think, okay, so I think there are some questions in the chat that I'm just putting hearts on that we can go through. A lot of people were a little bit confused with the two groups that I've been discussing. So just to be clear, when you work on the two groups, group one is with regards to the 2008 regulation. Okay, so if you had an FFC prior to the 1st of July 2024. So 30th of June 2024, anything before then you'll fall into that category, which means you were already meant to have complied. And if you haven't yet complied, then you've got this opportunity to get it done, but you have to be fully compliant before you renew your FFC. And then with regards to group number two, people who have the date on their FFC after or on the 1st of July 2024. So that was also asked in these questions. What if I applied before, but it only came to me, say, for example, this month? It doesn't matter when you applied. We work with the date on your FFC. So those people will fall into the second group, which means you're going to follow the NQF for occupational certificates, the ISO exam, and the PDE4. So I think a lot of people needed that to be reset and clarified. And then if we have a look at, the registration process for all our courses in your head, no matter which course it is, it's designed the same way. So it's important to remember that PropAcademy was designed, actually the founder of PropAcademy is in the audience now, so she's probably going to have a list of things for me to discuss afterwards. But the reason that she built this entire company, which is now the real estate faculty of CTU, is because she wanted to be pro-broker, pro-agent, not forcing you to sit in a classroom as little as necessary. So you can study from anywhere at any time and you're able to register. So we wake up in the morning and we'll see at 10 o'clock last night you registered for a course, and then we'll contact you and get you started in the process. We also make sure that you're purchasing the correct course. So if you are interested in a course, you just have a look on our website, you read everything that it says, and it won't let you purchase the course unless you pass. Okay, so that's a nice thing, so that you're not misled. You've read the quiz and then you can get started. So with regards to an enrollment date, which is how 99% of the training providers operate, we don't do that. When you are ready, we are ready for you. So you will start as soon as your payment reflects. I see there's some questions here, Colleen. If you want me to read them out, I think Michelle can assist with one or two.
I can definitely get a start on these for you. So let me just quickly see where we can start. I know you've addressed quite a few.
I have tried,
clarity on the groups you've given. Let's see. Okay. The agents who applied for an FFC before the 1st of July, but were never issued with one by 1 July, where do they fall?
They will fall into the second group.
Okay, I'm just going to
so your FFC issue date is where we need to focus.
Yes, I think that can also maybe be repeated because I saw that was an important note. I'll drop this here.
Yeah, it's quite sad. And I know a lot of you would be frustrated because, I mean, I've even heard of people waiting well over a year for the FFC. So we can't wait that long to get things done. And I know that the PPRA are working on it, but there has to be some sort of contact for you to escalate your issues.
Fantastic. Then Des dropped a message, but I think Charlotte mentioned that he can make direct contact, but I'm going to read it anyway. I have an agent joining me who has been NQF4 competent. What does she still need to do?
Okay, so Michelle, this person has not ever had an FFC. I'll see the comments later on. So no FFC at all, but completed the NQF level 4. So my suggestion is that they will register for their first FFC and include a certificate of the NQF 4. The old NQF 4 is still valid. They are not doing away with it. You still complied as according to that regulation. So it means that the NQF 4 would not need to be done, but then you will need to do your ASA and your PDE4.
That's correct, Courtney.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the same as the exemption query, which, sorry, we are briefly, I'm trying to do two things at once here, but with the exemption, it would be the same case. So if you had a qualification with an NQF level 6 or higher for NQF 4 exemption and NQF level 7 or higher for NQF level 5 exemption, and you were actually exempted against the NQF 4 or 5 or both, you will still need to fill up the other gaps. So the ASA exam and the PDE4, and then if you were doing PDE5. And the reason for this shouldn't be negative. We should look at this in a positive light, because if somebody comes in with an NQF level 7 in a completely different industry, then we need the industry, the PPRA, put these exams in place in order to make sure that you are coming in because you've got your higher qualification, you're exempted from that. But it's important that you know the basics, and that's why they are tested on the NQF level 4 in real estate content, so that we are then going, okay, excellent, you have done some research, you can now come into our industry at that status.
Yeah. I think we did partially answer Lorraine's question, which was about the ASA assessment, which is not going to be online. So I'm just going to repeat that. It's not going to be an online exam. Costing, I'm not sure if that's something that can be discussed here or if it can.
Yeah, sure, we can. Michelle, I can see she's already trying to unmute herself there.
Yes, Carlene, on that note, we haven't had any communication directly from the QCTO yet of is there any costs involved. So we can say that we can let our learners know when the time is right, but at this stage there is no communication regarding any costs involved. I hope it stays that way. So yeah, at this stage, there's no cost involved.
Okay, great. Then we have a question from, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, from Amuri. If you are a new agent registering as a candidate property practitioner and you do the NQF4, can you still work as an agent and earn commission during the course?
Okay, Courtney, can I answer that?
Yeah, so I know, I can tell your actions, your body moves in a certain way, then I know you're going to answer. I can see you research.
So yes, you can. If you are currently busy with the NQF4, you can earn commission. Please just remember you need to have a FFC. You cannot earn any commission if you have not got a FFC. So the FFC is the important thing to have when you want to earn commission. The important thing to know as well is the new occupational certificate, as I mentioned this morning. It's got 3 sections. It's got a knowledge section, it's got a simulated practical section, and then it's got the workplace experience section. So if you have not got your FFC while you are doing the first 2 sections, it's not a problem. But you need to have your FFC when you do your workplace experience modules. So you will also not be found competent in this course if you have not got a FFC. at the end of the day. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, the next question is again from Lorraine. Does one have to be a principal in order to write the PDE5? Agent has PDE5. Yeah, I'm assuming you ladies understand this question.
So yes. So I'm not actually reading it, but I know what you're asking. So what will happen here is, as long as, okay, if it's an agent this far ahead, we know that they probably fell into group 1. So as long as the logbook, NCUR4, PDE4, and NCUR5 have all been found competent, then yes, this person without principal status can register to write the PDE5. And we are reaching out to you to say, and there's a few comments relating to this, Colleen, is if you can't register for your PDE5 because the fact that you're not a principal, please can you pop us an email? Okay, you can send it through to me and I will send it through to the head of education for you at the PPRA. So I have put my email address there. So anyone relating to that question.
Yes, I'll keep an eye out not to repeat the same questions because I see what you mean. There are quite a few that relate to the same. Antoinette is asking who is the contact at the board to register for the PDE5?
So that's fine. Just if you can pop me an email at Courtney at COURTNEY at PropAcademy @.co.za and I'll pass it on for you.
Yeah, and if anyone either forgets or did not, get the email from the session or forgot to save it, you can just also contact them through the website. They are actively on the chat, live chat feature.
Yes.
That's available on the site, as well as if you just fill in one of the contact forms. PropAcademy does get back to you very fast. I can definitely vouch for that. So Luca Nisos asks, how does exemption for NCUR4 work if you're a new entrant? And can you explain the new pathway for new entrants?
Yes, sure. Okay. All right. So the first half of the question is, how does an exemption work? So whether you have an FFC or not, you can apply for exemption. Okay. You have to, if you go, Charlotte or someone from my team, please put the exemption quiz link on the chat box here. If you click on the link and you complete the quiz, then you will be able to see if you will qualify for the exemption. Because if you go directly through the PPRA on a hunch that you do qualify, but you don't submit the right documents, you have to pay whether the answer will be yes or no. So we've done this free quiz for you that you can do on our website. It will say, yes, okay, you will be exempt. The 3 things that they look at is if you've studied through a South African institution, because it needs the SACWA credits, okay? If you've studied for a minimum of 3 years, okay? Not any less than that. And then the last one is if you're applying for NCUR4 exemption, you need an NCUR level 6 or higher in any industry. And if it's for 5, then you need an NCUR level 7 or higher. So, but do the quiz and make sure the person who's actually wanting the exemption is the one who applies, because, and you finish the quiz, you're not paying for it, just you're reading it. Okay, that's the most important thing. It's not about passing the quiz and going, oh yeah, I passed. You have to actually have all of those documents in order. So if that is the case, then you would apply for your exemption. If you don't have an FFC yet, then when you apply for your FFC, you can attach the proof of exemption, so that they will update your portal, okay, when they load you. And then if you do have an FFC and you've applied for exemption, you'll still be exempted against the NCUR4, but you would still need to do your ASA and your PDE4 exam, okay. And with regards to new people joining our industry and what they'll need to do, if somebody in our group can just put the NCUR level 4 registration link there so everyone can read about the course page. So you would have to do the NCUR level 4 OC, which is an occupational certificate, and you will have to do, and actually in our course page and in a blog that I've posted here, it explains the steps very clearly for those who want to go back and look at the links. And then you'll have to do your ASA and your PDE4. Okay. Just think of the logbook as now included in the NCUR4.
I just also want to clarify, we are getting to everyone's questions. I'm just taking it from the top to the bottom. So Carlos, will get to your question as well. So I think the next one is from Leanne Watson. Those who applied months ago but were not issued an FFC yet, but registered for and started the original old NQF4 course through PropAcademy, can you assist with a course switch?
Yes, of course, we'll sort it out for you. There's obviously, we need to see when was it purchased, etc. But if you can please send that through. I think I've replied to say, can you send it to QC? So it stands for Quality Control at propacademy.co.za.
Okay. Right, and then we are at Carlos's question. Carlos, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I know there's many ways to say it. So I represent a company that owns houses, and the company is considering selling and or renting the houses. The question is, an employee of the company will be made responsible for this function. Does that employee need to be PPRA compliant?
So the answer is yes. Okay, they're dealing with the public and they're renting properties for gain. So any person who discusses material aspects of property must hold an FFC. And in order for that to happen, you need to make sure an agency is registered. So you would open up the agency and you would register the agent under it and make sure that they comply with the education regulation. And I think we have somebody in our audience that also assists with that, Janet from Principal Property Services. She can help you with the entire setup.
All right, I'll quickly, I don't think Janet's here on her usual name, but perhaps if Janet's email, Janet, if you can maybe share your email address.
Yeah, Janet can put it in the comment box. Otherwise, Charlotte also has it because we work together.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Then the next one is from Nazmira. Why do we need mathematics in 2 languages for the NQF4?
Okay, so you needed it for the previous one, but I can see Michelle's doing her dive thing into the screen. So she's going to explain that to you, and she's also going to explain with the new NQF4 what the difference is.
Okay, yes. So with the old NQF4, you needed a matric certificate. That matric certificate, the requirement was that you needed a second language and maths. If it was literacy or the normal maths, it makes no difference, but you needed maths. But for the new, so that is from CETA side. It's not, it's a requirement from CETA that wanted a matric certificate. For the new occupational certificate, as I did mention, you only need a level 3, which is equivalent to grade 11. And it doesn't specify that you need a language or maths. It literally just says that you need an NQF3 certificate. So for the new course, I don't know who asked the question, but for the new course, you do not need maths or literacy. You actually only need a grade 11 certificate.
Okay, so that's for the OC, right?
That's for the OC, yes.
Okay, so that was Nasmira. I hope that answers your question. The next question is from Bernard. If you have your NQF4 and have done the PDE exam, will you have to write the new ASA exam?
I'm going to jump in that one too.
Go for it.
Okay, so no, if you have got your NQF4 already and you have done your PDE4, you are compliant. You wouldn't be able to write your PDE4 if your logbook wasn't given in. So if you've got your NQF4 and PDE4, you are compliant. You don't need to worry. I saw that Chantel in the chat box asked exactly the same question. So if you have done your old NQF4, you've done your PDE4, guys, just go sell properties. You are compliant.
Fantastic. So I think Pam's been answered, so that's fine. I'm going to continue from there. Antoinette says, sorry if this was answered, but if you are currently doing the old NQF4, can you still submit it?
Yes, you can. We've got a lot of learners still doing the old NQF4. There's textbook-wise, you've actually still got till 2027 to complete it as per CETA. But of course, you don't want to stagnate on your course, guys. So get it finished as quick as possible. But yes, you have still got time to finish your NQF4, the old one.
Awesome. Nikki is asking, can I just confirm if I understood correctly, if we have finished up to elective 2 of the old version, we have to re-register for the new course. I think I'm not sure. I think she might think that she needs to switch over. I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question correctly.
No, it's not necessary to switch over. I think the best will be pop us a email that we can see where you are. But you definitely don't need to switch. If you are busy with the old NQF4, I would suggest stay with that, because otherwise you're going to have extra things that you don't need to do. So stay with the old one. But if you like, just pop us a email and we can just check where you are and we can help you.
And just to kill two birds with one stone there, with Antoinette saying, sorry if this was answered, I don't know if I'm repeating it here, but if you're currently doing the old NQ4, can you still submit it? You certainly will still submit it.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
okay, excellent. Thank you.
I think as a summary, everyone can understand that they can still continue with the old version, but rather sooner than later. And you don't need to do the switch over unless you want to. And that's where you can reach out to Courtney and her team so they can evaluate where you are and if the switch is viable. Right. And then Dalian is asking, if an agent's first FFC was issued in April 2024, until when do they have to get all the qualifications? Is it until October 2027?
Yes, so you've got a 3-year FFC. Some people are still on the individual FFCs, but all FFCs as they get renewed go to the 3-year FFC. And Daleen, if you also go onto the portal of the agents, and you'll be able to download the FFC there. It will say from, it will expire in December. The reason we're saying October is because you need to then renew in October 2027 for the 2028 3-year FFC.
I see David is asking about CPD points. I actually forgot to go to that question. Let me just see where that was. Give me a second. I think it was one of the first questions.
Yeah, I saw a comment about CPD with David. What I will do is I'm going to CPD takes a whole webinar in itself. And I think it's important that we do actually host a webinar on CPD, specifically so we can look at the new portal and explain the new rules. But for now, I would like to just quickly put this this link on our chat box for you. And then, David, what we can do, if you can just reply with your contact number, I will phone you as soon as this session is over.
And then we have a question or a statement from Lukan Nisu. I think it's the second time this person's engaging. Also, I just want to say thank you to those who are engaging with us. This is the whole reason we do it in this format, is to make a discussion out of it. And I'm pretty sure the questions that some of you are asking are what others are wondering or haven't thought of yet. So thank you for that. So Lukan Nisu says, I heard that you have to do a 6-month internship as a new entrant when joining. Can you explain how this works? I heard there was confusion about this process. No.
Okay, so I won't call it the internship anymore. It's the workplace experience modules. As I mentioned this morning, the 3 sections of the course. Now, the 3rd section is the section of the workplace experience, and for that you need a FFC. So when you're doing your workplace experience, you would need your FFC to do that, and then you've got 180 days to complete that, which is then 6 months. And I think that's where he's the person that asked the question is getting the 6 months from. So they don't call it the internship anymore. They just need you to have a FFC when you do the workplace experience. And the reason for that is because you are going to work with clients. You're going to work with clients buying and selling their properties. And you do need to then fall under a principal, which is a mentor that can make sure that you are doing the right things at the right time, if that answers the question.
Okay, so we have 4 minutes left in the session. I'm going to maybe just take one more question and then we can conclude there. I'd also want to say, if we didn't answer anyone's question today, please feel free to reach out to Courtney or Michelle directly. Their email addresses have been provided in the chat, but also keep a lookout for our future webinars. We always follow this format, as it is very informative and helps address anyone's concerns. So I think the next question we can go to is, we can try and get to 2, but Sven is asking, what is the minimum time frame to complete your NQF5?
So the NQF5, if you do it through PropAcademy, we have given you 8 months to complete the NQF5. That will be more than enough time to complete it.
And then we can maybe take on one more. What do you need if you would like to go into property management? That's from Ansi.
Okay, so obviously a desire for property management is a good start. And property management is one of those really nice ones where you can just get started. And we have actually 3 very different options for you. When I say different, entry level, medium, and then very experienced. So on our website, if you have a look under skill enhancing, but I would prefer to chat to you and talk to you about this. Actually, Charlotte will call you right after this meeting to discuss it, but your prerequisite will depend on which level you are looking to go into, and you do have 3 options. So it's a bit difficult because we're not talking about the specific course you're going to choose, but we're going to phone you. So if you don't mind putting your number on your comments, and then Charlotte will make a note to give you a shout now.
Okay, I just want to say thank you to the audience for joining us today. For those who've joined, this is normally the format that we approach. I know it's a little bit unconventional to what you might be used to. We try not to do just presentations. We try to have conversations, and that is the point of today's session. So thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate your time. We hope to see you in our next webinars, which we will continue to invite you to. And please, I would like to encourage you to reach out to Courtney or to Michelle. Book your consultation sessions with them, online, in person, depending where you are, so that you can get a more informed summary, and also they can also help you with your decision-making process. So thank you so much, everyone. We're still going to hang around for a few minutes. So if there are any direct questions for Courtney, she can answer them in the chat. So we'll still be here. But for those who have gotten what they needed, have a wonderful day, enjoy your long weekend, and we hope to see you for our next session.